Welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Mann. Join me for conversations about possibilities and tools for having more joy, more play, and way more of you. What would it be like to wake up every day with a wild enthusiasm for living? Hello and welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Mann, and I am here today with my new friend, Nick Shelton. Nick is a coach and a speaker, and he developed a program called the Reset Button, which is about finding purpose, no matter how lost you feel right now. He's also the author of The Introvert's Guide to World Domination. Welcome, Nick. I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my goodness. So we were talking a little bit before we jumped on about where to begin. And one of the things that Nick has really been diving into and working on is life purpose and helping people find life purpose, even when things are foggy or you don't know what that is right now. So I would love to start there if that's okay with you, Nick. And if you could just tell us a little bit about what is the Reset program, and can you talk about what does life purpose even mean?
Right. So, and I think that this is great because the wild enthusiasm for living, right? That's kind of hand in hand with purpose.
Absolutely.
You have purpose, then you can wake up and say, yes, can't wait to get out there today. So for me, what had happened was I retired at 49 from the oil and gas industry. And I was, yes, I won, right? But no one else was retired, just me. And so I kind of hit this little slump, this depression, because my identity was wrapped up in that career. And so all my social circles, all the day-to-day, what I saw myself as being, and I look at it sort of like a phase one, phase two. Phase one being your identity being around what you do and how well you do it. And versus the phase two, which is more relationship based. And I look at it like being like a warrior out on the plains versus a village elder in the tent. And everyone knows about the being out there achieving, but no one really shows you how to make that move to more of a relationship based thing. So I fell into this depression, and I was thinking, well, what can I do here? And much like when I navigated as an introvert, shy and socially awkward person, navigated the career path and then documented it and showed others how to do it, this was kind of the same thing. I felt lost, like I was fading away. And part of this, also some of your listeners might relate to this, nobody noticed. So
yeah, so you're in this phase of everything's different, everything's changed. The thing that got you noticed or seen, or that you felt personal, like you got achievement from, you had personal self-worth from, all gets ripped out from you. I mean, it sounds like, you chose that, but like you
right.
got to that point and then you were like, help, I don't know what comes next. And nobody even saw it.
No one saw it. Everyone, and it's really strange. You feel a little guilty because people are saying, yes, you did it. This is what we all want to do. And then, so I'm supposed to just, I can't say, no, there's something wrong. I need help. Because everyone feels like, you're supposed to be this role model now. We all want to do what you did. And you're like, no, maybe not. Maybe not. It's
yeah. Wow. What an interesting spot to find yourself in when you're like, yes. I don't actually know what the next step is, but everybody's like, good job, man. Right. So how did you get through that? It sounds like you were in this foggy place and you were like really struggling with like what your true purpose was at this point.
Right.
So what happens next?
So I was just laying there and I was thinking about, I was like, man, I'm fading. I feel like I'm dying, but I'm not dying, And so I said, for some reason, I saw some YouTube video where it had said something like, in another life, maybe I can do this. And then I was thinking about that and I said, why can't that other life start right now? And I started thinking, I feel like I was given that first phase of life and I navigated that. But I said, well, what if I had a reset button and I could just start a whole new life right now? And instead of being given it, I can just take what worked, what I feel I need for this next chapter, and bring that, and then dismiss all the stuff, release all the stuff that I don't need anymore, and just rebuild, kind of like a person writing a movie screenplay or script and developing a character. Maybe I can. Who says that I can't just take the good stuff and then add in, well, what do I want to be? What would I like
Yeah.
right now? And so that got me excited from being in the doldrums and depressed and feeling sorry for myself to, hey, there's a possibility that I can just rebuild this. I can just develop a character that would suit this new phase of life.
Yeah. So what did you do? What did you use that momentum to then create?
All right, good question. So it starts with an audit. I know the word audit sounds dirty. People are like, I don't want an audit.
No
Well,
audits.
yes. But this is a positive personal audit, because in order to change, you have to know where you're at and what your resources are. And so we take a look in and see, well, what am I working from? And there's a guy by the name of James Altucher who used to say something like, he would start his day with the vision that, what if I was an alien that beamed into this body for the day, and I have to try to do the best I can for this person with what they have for today. So I kind of took a little bit of that, like, okay, if you just were given this, so you're not looking at super personal. You're just, I'm sure we've all had a time where we've thought we've known somebody and we say, I think I could do their life better than them.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
And so it's kind of like that, where instead of you're beaming into someone else, you're beaming into you, but from kind of an outer perspective, seeing what you're working with and then saying, okay, well, what can we do with this? We're going to we're going to honor and release the stuff that is no longer suiting us. And then we're going to take the good stuff and then plug in some things that we like, as though we're developing a character. And we're going to rebuild that core. And then I
Cool.
can go into the next.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, you have me on the edge of my seat. Like, what happens next? So
All right.
how did you get to where you are? And then how does that translate also to other people?
Right. So what's going to happen is, like, if you just said, okay, I'll do this today, then immediately the old you is going to try to come back in and be like, nope, we're going to shut this down and go back. So we have to try to reinforce this. So once we build out this new person, then we have to start reinforcing it by introducing some new social situations. So, and we can vary these, but I have some defaults, which I would say to someone who we did those first steps, then I'd say, okay, take a dance class, a cooking class, and a language class.
Ooh, I love that.
And what that does is they're all pretty intimate. So the dance class, you're intimate, you're touching someone, you're dancing. The cooking class, you're working with someone, destroying some new food. And the language class, you're butchering a new language with somebody. And these are all things which they'll force you into a new social situation, and you'll introduce yourself as this new version of you. So instead of saying, oh, I used to be this, no, now you're just introducing yourself as this new version and whatever new hobbies you might have. So on this point, one of the things that you can do is, while we're all in that achievement mode, we've all sacrificed something, given up on some kind of thing that we were passionate about years ago. And now it's time to kind of revisit that. So, for example, when I was in high school, I'd write poems all the time. And then after high school, never wrote any poems. And because I guess I was either too busy, sidetracked, or too cool, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I said, well, maybe I should write one and see if there's that, if it comes back, if that magic's there. Or, I wanted to also at one time be a chef when I was 10 years old. I wanted to be a chef, I remember. So now let's go back and see, hey, let me cook and see if that does something. So at this stage, maybe some of those old hobbies might play a part in this. And then when I'm introducing myself, I can say, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in
Yeah.
this. And all these new people, they don't know anything about the old you. They just know this new you. So that's reinforcing that new version of you you're building out. And this is part of that introvert's guide to world domination, part of getting
Yeah.
introverts out. It carries over into this too, because you're getting out into society, whether you like it or not, but it's introducing you into these new circles where people know you as this and that.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine for a lot of people, this is sort of terrifying.
Yes.
So there is sort of this sense of like, I don't know how to be that person. And two, I don't like people.
Right.
so, so, I know you've worked a lot with like social anxiety and introverts. And as you're going through this into like life purpose, what would you tell somebody who is like, yeah, Nick, that sounds like a good idea, but I'm scared?
Right. Well, I'm scared too.
I love that.
Yes. And so it's not like that goes away really, but you just show up. So you don't have to. When I work with people on this, like for example, the dance class, we're like, well, I can't dance. It's a dance class. You're not supposed to look cool and dance. You're supposed to be bad at dancing. So just show up. You don't have to show up and be the belle of the ball or the light, of the town. Just be in the room. So even if you
Yeah.
show up and you're awkward, you don't have to really engage. Someone's going to talk to you, because all these activities, it forces you to talk to somebody. But yeah, they're never not scared. I go
Yeah.
in there like, well,
So this is like a feel the fear and do it anyways kind of thing. Like, yeah,
yes,
you're going to be scared. And like the more you take yourself out of your comfort zone and put yourself into maybe uncomfortable situations, but new situations,
right,
it creates something different. It creates like a new identity almost. Is that
right. It's
true?
This is a new you that you're taking out into the world. And so, yes, once again, you don't have to go above and beyond trying to be sociable. These activities kind of force that on you. All you have to do is show up. Once you show up at the dance class, for example, they're not going to let you just sit quietly and watch. They're going to say, get up, come over here. Here's your partner. And so it kind of forces you into it. So that takes away a lot of the stuff where you'd say, I don't know what to do. You just do
Yeah.
what they tell you to do. The
Okay.
cooking class,
Okay.
they're going to instruct you. You just have to just do what you're told. And so I try to find activities that it takes a lot off of you. You don't have to make a lot of decisions. You just show up, walk in the door, and somebody will take you and say, this is your cooking station over here.
Perfect.
And then you just
I
follow
love
the
that.
instructions.
Yeah. So, how does somebody go from I'm going to create a new maybe I'm getting ahead, so tell me to just slow down. But I mean, so you go from this, you're doing these new things. So how does that connect to like creating a new purpose or like I'm not even sure I know what purpose means exactly.
Right. So the purpose, for example, like this wild enthusiasm for living, if you have some kind of North Star, that's what I needed, I call it like a new mission, a second mission, or a North Star to orient yourself around to say, okay, this is what I want to do. So when you wake up, you actually have a direction and you can weigh things against that. Like, does this go closer to that or take me farther away? And so once you get out and you start talking, because you might not just know off the top of your head, and most of us don't. So that's why we revisit some of those old hobbies. And then when we get out and we start talking and engaging with some of these other people, you find out what people are doing. So you're not just meeting those people that go to cooking class, dance class, language class. You might mention something For example, and it might not be something that you're into yet. So like I like kayaking. So I say always put your interest out there, even if it's not something that you're super into, just be like, I was interested in kayaking. That person might not be, but they might say, oh, my brother is interested in that. I'll introduce you to them. Oh, or that person over there, they know about that. And then you can find out. You can try on a lot of different things to see what what that how that feels, and then if it's good, then you go more in that direction, and that will help you find what makes you alive. So for me, it was I tried a lot of different things, and so I do have a lot of hobbies, but for my purpose, it was I was sitting around one day and I was thinking, I did it like a good deed, and I said, do are angels real? Do angels exist? And if they do, how do I know I'm not one?
Hmm.
And it's not in a big like religious way. It's just
Sure.
I was just thinking, what if I did an experiment and I call it Be the Angel?
I love
And
that.
so I was thinking, what if I can do miracles, but I can't do them for myself or anyone I know? I can only do it for strangers. And so I was like, well, this could be fascinating. So every day when I wake up, I say, I'm going to make someone's day today. I have like, I don't know how my day is going to be, but I know I can make somebody else's day.
That's cool.
And I don't know how it's going to unfold. So I don't have it planned. I'm like, ooh, if you have your eyes open and you're just going out like, what's it going to be? Who's it going to be? How's it going to? And it could be something simple like just listening to someone or seeing them as a person. So for example, there's there's the Subway sandwich places and there's Chipotle. And many years ago, I worked at a Subway sandwich place as a sandwich artist.
I
And
love that.
people would come in and they pretty much treat you like you're a robot or something. They say, I want this, 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 and they just move down. But when I go in, I will pause. It could be busy lunchtime. And when they say, what can I get started for you? I say, well, wait, how are you? How are you today? And I make sure that they know that I see them as a person. We have a little back and forth. Sure, the people behind me are like, come on, let's go. But I see them, I thank them. And then, sometimes it's these little things that maybe that person has not been seen or felt like a person in a long time.
Yeah.
And it could be little things like that, or it could be bigger things like, paying for someone's coffee or, helping somebody carry something heavy. There's
Sure.
all kinds of little different things. But so for me, I found that really is inspirational. And so my purpose, I have a lot of hobbies, but for me, I'm like, man, I really love it. I love that feeling of what can I do to be the metaphorical angel today? And
I
so,
really love that. It's cool that you got to that from like it started with hobbies and it started with like just trying to figure out who you are. Like, what do I actually like? What's actually fun for me? What lights me up?
yes,
And that even in that space, you were like, what can I also be for others that in turn you feel good, about,
yes,
we do things for other people and that also lights us up because we know that we made their day or we see a spark come back to their eye or, there's all of those things. And then you go through the day and you're like, wow, I feel good too. Like this,
yes,
everybody wins.
right,
And all it takes is that little extra second to kind of break the societal norm of like, wheat, 6 inch,
right,
and actually kind of be like, hey, like, how are you? How are you, hope you have a beautiful day. I mean, even
yes,
things like that to connect to people. And you said something
yes.
about that when we first started. You talked about making connection as part of your next steps or your next phase in life. Is that all connected?
Yes, yes, and it's important to and everyone's North Star or mission or purpose doesn't have to be like mine. It's just
Sure.
what resonates with you, and then once we build that core around it, and you expose it to those new environments, then you can also start looking at your settings, like your environmental settings. Are things reinforcing that? You got to try to set up your home in a way that reinforces this new you, or else once again, the old you is gonna try to come back to make you default back into it. So you always have to be vigilant on that. And also another thing for the new you, and I don't have it with me right now, but I like to have a like something that you normally wouldn't have. So it could be, I had a TEDx talk about uniforms, how when a policeman puts on a uniform, whether they like it or not, you are a policeman now. When it could be a firefighter, could be a chef, they put it on and now we address you as that. So I would say for this new version of you, you could have like a necklace, just something that it doesn't have to be a full clothing uniform. It could just be a piece. It could be a ring, a necklace, a certain watch, earrings, or something that you say, okay, this. And so I have this necklace that I when I start slipping, I touch it and I'm like, oh no, this is a, Nick doesn't wear necklaces. So I have this necklace on because I'm, Nick 2.0. And so that's like my reminder that that's my uniform. When I have that on, I am this new version of me.
Sure. So I'm curious, one of the things I talk a lot about, and I mean, a lot of people are curious about, is authenticity. So how does sort of becoming Nick 2.0, how do you keep that feeling authentic from feeling like, I don't know, like you're being fake or you're putting on a mask or something like that? Does that make sense?
Yes. Kind of like an imposter syndrome sort of thing. And so I find that, so there's a lot of folks on kind of like that fake it till you make it thing. But for me, I find what works better is, instead of trying to pretend like you know everything, I do the opposite and just like, I don't know what this is.
I love that.
And so it takes all the pressure off, because when you walk in, you're like, yes, I have to, it's a lot of pressure to try to, be the one that's like, okay, I'm supposed to know. People are going to know. They're going to judge me if I don't know what's going on. It's way easier just to show up and say, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's happening here. And there's always somebody. So if you show up, you decide, okay, I want to explore beekeeping, and you don't know anything about beekeeping, but you're just starting, but you're like, this is the new me is going to be into this. If you show up at some kind of beekeepers meetup, don't act like you know about beekeeping. Say, I don't know anything about this. And there's always someone at every event or meetup or social thing that you go to that would be more than happy to share their knowledge with you. So if you say, I don't know, someone's going to say, oh, let me explain how this works. And also what helps with this is then they kind of look at you as, this is one of mine. Because they feel like they've kind of mentored you in a way. So
yeah, that makes sense. That's really cool. I love that, like, more being curious and being like open and honest of like, I don't know, just here to learn, because then like you kind of create helpers, and also like you learn more than trying to like pretend but you don't actually know.
Right.
And then that also, I think, creates a lot of anxiety for people if they're looking around going like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm doing this right.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. I'm also curious, like, when you got to the purpose, so you went to all the different classes, and that's one of the things you suggest is do different things, put yourself in new social situations. You don't have to know everything. Then you got to this sort of like, I would just want to like do good things for people and create a different life experience for people, sort of being that, angel embodied. And you said, not everybody has to have that. Like, if somebody's like, okay, but I want to know what my thing is, maybe that's not my thing. How might they get to that? Is it just a natural thing that kind of happens as they're doing all these other things? Or is there anything that people can do to kind of like figure it out?
Right. I don't know if so everyone wants the shortcut, where they're just like, okay, what's the shortcut for this? But there's no super shortcut, but it's exposing yourself to a lot of different situations to see what fits. Because once you've built your identity around, like the first Nick, my identity was built around this. Now we have to find something else.
Yeah.
And so it's not, just like, well, here's a multiple choice. I gave you 10 options, pick one of these. It's because there's so many things. There's thousands upon
Yeah. No,
thousands of
I hear
things.
you. I get
So
what you're saying. Okay.
so that's what so I would say once we build this new you that you want to be, and then we put you in some situations, you're going to meet people and you're going to see a lot of different scenarios, and you'll start gravitating in a certain direction. And then that's going to open up, each step in one direction opens up a lot of options there. Then you'll take another step, and then that'll open up a lot of options. And then you can either choose early and say, oh, okay, it might come early on this process, this path where you know right away, or then there might be something that it takes a little while. It takes a few steps for you to say, oh, this is it, because there could be something that was almost it, where you say, oh, I think that this is it, but then you try it on, so to speak, and then you're like, okay, it's almost this, but not quite. So it's not a thing that you really rush. We try to put you through the steps as quick as possible, but for that final, like, passionate, this is my life purpose, I don't think that you would want to necessarily. It's very important. You don't really rush that and say, okay, 1 hour from now we will have your life's purpose.
Yeah. No,
And
I get that. And it sounds like a lot of that is gained from personal experiences and from having these interactions. One of the things that you talk about is like, even if you're in a fog or like, even if you like feel really lost, is there anything that, as people are on this journey, if they're feeling lost, they don't know what the next step is, that's sort of like a daily practice. So maybe they're going to some new classes, they're meeting new people. Is there anything that you did or you'd recommend as far as like daily affirmations or journaling or anything that you did to sort of like, I don't know, start your day differently or show up differently, like for you? Is there anything that contributed to that?
yeah, so I tried a lot of different things. I tried, the affirmations, and I'll still do some affirmations. And I tried, I was like, okay, maybe meditation. Let's do some therapy. And but what really seemed to move the needle for me was daily. I'll do what's called a dignity scan,
Hmm.
and so, and it's kind of like, also, this can be really helpful for those listeners of yours that uh, they say, this is all well and good. I'm just trying to make it through the day. I just need to make it through
Yeah.
today. I'll worry about all that reinventing down the line after I can just make it through the day. So it's more about seeing, once again, it's like a mini audit, but it's you'd say, like, who is there anyone who loves me? Can I think of anyone who loves me or cares about me? And then write that down. And then, how do you know? Write down how you know that. Is there anyone that like I care about? Okay, write their name down. How do I know? How do I know that I care about them? And then, what's a skill that I have? What's a talent that I have? Write it. How do I know that I have that talent? And so it's just these this little dignity scan thing, and it's kind of, I would say, dials you in, centers you, calibrates you for the day.
Yeah. I love that. Is that written somewhere? Do you have, or is that if people work with you, how do people kind of get those questions?
Well, I do have it written. I can probably make that into an
I was
easily
like, here's a lead
accessible.
magnet for you.
Yes, I will put that on the website. So by
Yeah,
the
that would be
time
great.
this airs, it will be on the website where you can
I
click
love that.
and
I'm
begin.
just coming up with business ideas while we talk. No, that's so great because people are looking for that. People want like, I love those questions because sometimes people just need like, okay, how do I recenter or how do I start my day? Or, how
Yeah,
do I um like, I don't know, feel like I'm doing something towards this, even if right now I feel really lost. So I love
right.
that practice. I think that that's a great thing to reflect on. Um, yeah, that's really amazing.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm wondering, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think you're like, this is one thing I have to talk about, and if not, that's okay.
Let's see. Well, so show up. Show up is what I tell everybody. You always have to show up. Nothing happens if you don't show up. Like, once again, if you, whether it's going to one of these events or something like that, you have to be in the room. You don't have to do anything. Don't feel forced to do anything once you're in the room, but you have to at least show up.
Get yourself in the room.
Yes,
That's
get
that. I
yourself
think
in the
that's
room.
excellent advice. Oh wow. Well, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this with me. How can people find you if they're looking to learn more about you?
They can go to resettheman.com, and women can go there too. I just
I
needed
love it.
a catchy domain name, but resettheman.com. And then also you can find me on LinkedIn, Nick Shelton. You'll see my face smiling there. I'm easy to find. And also, if you want to go to Amazon, check out the book, An Introvert's Guide to World Domination, you can do that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful and I'm so glad we got to have this conversation today. And thank you all for listening. Please share this if you have people in your world that you know would benefit from this conversation. And I think that's all for the day. So have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. And thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.